Just one, two, two. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Agenda Item 8 of the Committee on Trade, Investment, Enterprise and Business Innovation will commence shortly. May I kindly request everyone to take their seats.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Good afternoon. The meeting is called to order. So, we are supposed to deal with Agenda Item 8, adoption of the report. I understand that the report has been uploaded on the website, but before we go on to Agenda Item 8, I guess we should take a look at the three draft decisions before us. Can we please start with draft decision 1 and put it up on screen? Yes, so on decision 1, again, I think if my memory doesn't fail me, we were waiting to hear back from a couple of delegations. But in addition to that, any further thoughts, comments? The US, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just to respond that you were waiting, we were one of those who were waiting for, so we can confirm that we have no concerns with this decision. Thank you.
Great. That's an auspicious start for the day. Anyone else? Not quite. So, decision 1, agreed ad ref? I guess so. Let's take a look at decision 2. Do I see the UK? Yes, please.
Thank you, Chair. Is it possible to see the version of Decision 2 that was originally there before the language was changed? Yes, so our delegation we're not as concerned about the removal on the implementation specifically of the Asia-Pacific Green Deal for Business, but we are quite concerned by the removal of integrating 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and we would prefer to retain that particular phrase. So ahead of ESCAP Sustainable Business Network and the Asia-Pacific Business Forum, we'd want to include to integrate the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. We think this is critical because of the wording as well. So when you're reading the paragraph, when you're thinking about how the Sustainable Business Network and the Forum is used, it's very much broader than the preceding clause on practices and solutions and about the wider agenda, which is very much part of all of the framework of the work of the UN and which all of us have recommitted to. So we'd prefer to retain that phrase. Thank you.
Well noted. Can we go back to the version that we previously saw? Yes. So here, can you suggest where would you like to have the amendments?
Yes. So in place of the word including, it would be to integrate the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development through the ESCAP Sustainable Business Network. So just as it was in the previous decision.
So including, then after that?
So you'd remove including, and it would be to integrate the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development through. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. This doesn't sound so auspicious, but I'm sure we can get out of this. Okay, I see the Russian Federation, please.
Спасибо, господин председатель. Спасибо, господин председатель. У нас нет проблем с тем, чтобы включить фразу, касающуюся повестки 2030. Но у нас есть проблема, если будет вычеркнуто слово including. Мы бы предложили перенести эту фразу в конец, так, чтобы фраза звучала следующим образом. To scale up businesses, to scale up sustainable businesses, practices, and solutions, including through the ESCAP sustainable business networks in Asia, including through Sustainable Business Network and Asia Pacific Business Forum, to integrate the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. В таком варианте для нас это будет вполне приемлемым для нашей делегации. Спасибо.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a major issue. I mean, yeah. United Kingdom?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the delegate from the Russian Federation. We're content with that reordering. Thank you.
Well noted. So we bring back including and take out the rest of the phrase here. Right. The US, please.
Thank you, Chair. The U.S. would propose the initial edit to remove that and would maintain that preference to do so. I think, as we've said, I don't know, about 25 times last month, continuing to, the U.S. will not continue to kind of endorse the 2030 Agenda in these decisions. I also just generally see that this is not necessarily additive to this. It's a broad element, and I would assume that the Secretariat is already undertaking such actions under its current mandate. Therefore, don't see it as necessary to this. At the same time, I do not have an instruction to call a vote, but would dissociate, excuse me, if this text were to remain. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Well noted. The Russian Federation, please.
Спасибо, господин председатель. И наша делегация не собирается быть то, что называется собакой в этой драке. Как я сказал, мы можем принять предложение Великобритании. У нас не случится припадка, если ссылка на повестку 2030 будет убрана. Реагируя с места, а как насчет того, чтобы сказать вместо to integrate the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, to promote sustainable development? Это всего лишь вопрос, и если это будет приемлемо, например, для делегации США, то это будет своего рода общим термином, который, тем не менее, будет подчеркивать значимость проблематики устойчивого развития. I repeat again, instead to integrate the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development for the following: to promote sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll note that later. Let's hear some reactions to that. Japan, please.
So first of all, we don't have instructions on the new sets of edits, but nonetheless, as a principle, we would like to get out of this committee with a fully consensus decision if we were to have any. We think it really detracts when we have to go into voting or any sort of other situation. I'm just wondering whether the Secretariat has a definition of the ESCAP Sustainable Business Network and the Asia-Pacific Business Forum. Maybe we can recall those documents, maybe the number of the document number, or the resolution number, or something like that. That I see some head shaking there. Just wondering whether we can use some language citing a document that established that network, for example.
Thank you, Japan. Yes, I think on your first point, given the quorum or the lack of quorum probably we have in the room, voting is probably not a feasible proposition. And yes, as far as we are concerned at this side of the room, we would definitely like to see a consensus emerging. Not to adopt this decision with any kind of dissociation or anything as such. On the second point, we will go into such homework if it really warrants us to do so. Let's try to fix this meanwhile. So there was another suggestion to say to promote sustainable development in lieu of what we have highlighted in yellow here. If the UK could weigh in on that suggestion as well while reacting to other interventions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Our instruction here is to insist by the mention of the 2030 agenda specifically, particularly as it was in the text previously and has been removed rather than an additional addition today. Unfortunately, my instruction is that where this is removed, we will be making a statement to say that we are disappointed on its removal after the. So it's the same situation one way or another. We're not minded to be calling a vote. We would want this to go through as consensus, but I think unfortunately this is the situation we are in. Thank you.
Can we try to now put the words to promote sustainable development, maybe? Please, the Secretariat colleagues, if we can type the words to promote sustainable development. Right, the US, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to my Russian and UK colleagues. I unfortunately do not have the flexibility to accept the sustainable development insertion that Russia has proposed, though I welcome the effort. And so we may be at an impasse in this case. unless there's appetite to seek Japan's third way.
Right. Yeah, I believe you're all doing some exercise on the third way, but meanwhile, not to rock the boat too much, but if you look at decision 3, which we almost agreed upon yesterday, does have a mention of sustainable development, inclusive and sustainable development. So if all delegations present in the room, including yours, could accept sustainable development in that context, is it extremely difficult to accept this notion in decision 2 as well? While the US delegation is reflecting upon that, yes, the UK?
I presume that was a question towards my delegation. As mentioned, it's specifically around the 2030 agenda, which includes all of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So I think in Decision 3, there was never an original mention of the 2030 agenda here. So we're content with how it is framed. I mean, all of this is about continuing work. None of this is necessarily instigating new work. So the kind of reasoning is the same across all 3. But I think for us it's incredibly symbolic where we remove the mention of the agreed SDGs. That's the issue for my delegation. And so we're just forced to, if we do remove our position, we will just make a statement at the end. Thank you.
Right. No, that point is very well taken. I was focusing on the issue of sustainable development, as the US delegation had flagged that it would be difficult for them to accept sustainable development in decision 2. That's why I was referring to decision 3, which did have a mention of sustainable development. On your point, on the UK's point, yes, but we have reached a point where we have to find some compromise maybe to reach consensus. So while your points are valid, I mean, we urge all delegations to strive towards some compromise language that can accommodate everyone's concerns or interest. Yes, the UK, please.
Thank you, Chair. If there is no widespread support in the room in maintaining 2030 agenda, we will seek instruction for capital and seek their flexibility. But as I say, we received quite a firm instruction overnight. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're most welcome to do that. Can we go up to decision 2, please? Yes. Can we try to promote sustainable development? The US, yes, please.
I mean, that these words are repeated in Decision 3 was not lost on me when I sought instruction from Capital, and I did not get an affirmative response that I could include that language in Decision 2. So your point is well heard and was considered previously, and I wish I had a more flexible answer to provide. I could offer something like broad-based development is the one thing I can offer, but I don't think my seatmate will accept it.
Yeah, I wish, I mean, we had this discussion on the first day of the committee. I mean, we could definitely engage in such discourses, but right now, let's not go down that pathway. But I think, again, I'll try another way. I think I heard the word disappointment instead of dissociation when the UK delegate spoke earlier. So let's try to have a situation where more than one delegation is disappointed, but nobody dissociates. Can we try to do that? I mean, that's what compromise is all about. Yes, the UK.
Thank you, Chair. No, that is well noted. It wouldn't be disassociation for us. It would just be putting on the record our disappointment. So if everybody's happy with us being disappointed, we can move forward in that way.
Great. So, assuming that Washington could be disappointed, can we try to have to promote sustainable development? You know, I push hard, so.
I mean, maybe we could just have one person disappointed. I'm sorry, we're playing it. I quite frankly sought support for this edit when I went back, and several other edits of similar character, and did not receive support for them. So I feel that my position is a little more hemmed in, and that I have had such language opposed by my capital, if that makes sense. Which isn't to say you don't, but.
What do you say? I feel you? I think I feel you, even if I don't understand you properly, but yeah, let's put it that way. But sorry to the interpreters, I mean, but the thing is, as you could see, I mean, the delegation that was asking for 2030 agenda, they have kind of agreed to scale down a little bit. So what we can expect from the US delegation at this stage to maybe meet the others at this midpoint? Let's try that. Let's take out the last bracketed text. And let's take a look at this. Shall we say to promote inclusive and sustainable development, to mirror the text in Decision 3? Can I ask the US and UK delegates to please approach the chair? Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to everyone for your patience. So, well, as you could see, I had some consultation with the two delegations from the UK and the US. So, if I'm not mistaken, the UK delegation is ready to show the flexibility to take this out, but that does not, of course, desist them from sharing their views with this committee at an appropriate point in time. So we take this out. This could be disappointing for many people, many delegations, but in the interest of consensus, let's try to live with this. There is a stunned silence in the room, but that's probably good. So we move on to decision 3. Thank you. Couple of delegations to circle back. Yes, the US.
Thank you, Chair. We spoke in a group just before this with the Russian, Japanese, and UK delegation, and I would propose that we remove the word transfer. And I think that should be acceptable. Thank you.
Okay, let's see if it is. Any comments? The Russian Federation?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The only reason actually to read the flag, to require the Secretariat to add the name of my delegation to the list of those disappointed. We are honestly disappointed, extremely disappointed, endlessly disappointed, but for the sake of the compromise and the successful conclusion, and at least having something meaningful in this otherwise no value added decision. So we can concur with that. Thank you.
Concur with the deletion of transfer?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
Not in real life, but in the text.
Right. Any other thoughts? That does not seem to be the case, so shall we delete the word transfer then? Yeah. Anything else? No other comments? So we take it that the 3 draft decisions are all agreed ad ref. Yeah, we take that out and the decisions are agreed ad ref. Great. So we will now proceed to consider the report of the committee and the draft report of the committee. It's contained in document ESCAP/CTIEBI 2/L.1. As you may have seen already, the report of the committee contains 2 sections. The first one is matters brought to the attention of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, and the second, information on the organization of the session. An account of the proceedings will be prepared after the meeting and circulated for factual corrections within a week of the conclusion of the meeting. This will be annexed to this report. We would like to inform delegates that language editing of the report will be undertaken by the Secretariat following the adoption of the report. In view of this, distinguished delegates are requested to focus on the substance of the report and leave the editorial work of correcting any grammatical or typographical errors to the Secretariat. I also request those delegates wishing to make minor changes to the text to read them out at dictation speed. With respect to any major changes, please provide the written text to the Secretariat so that they may enter it on screen for consideration by all delegations. The draft report is up on the screen. So we go through the text as we usually do, section by section. Let us start with section 1. Any comments on section 1? Can we scroll down, please? Yes, so section 1 starts this way: matters brought to the attention of ESCAP. And then we have these 3 decisions. Then any final thoughts on section 1? That does not seem to be the case. So again, going one by one, decision 1. Adopted. Decision 2. I know about the disappointment, but otherwise, no objection, adopted. Decision 3. Adopted. We can now move on to section 2, organizational aspects. Any comments? If we can scroll down, please. Scrolling down, please. Self-explanatory, please. Any edits here? Paragraph 13. Please scroll down. Account of proceedings, as I have already mentioned. Thank you. I see no request for the floor, so we'd assume that there is no comment on section 2. So, as we have heard no views to the contrary, I declare this report adopted by acclamation. Thank you. Yes, the UK, please.
Thank you, Chair. I will be repeating my previous comments. For the record, we would like to note that the United Kingdom is disappointed that the decisions recommended by the committee ended up devoid of well-recognised and agreed terms, including a mention of the 2030 Agenda and the associated Sustainable Development Goals, which Member States recommitted to at last year's Summit of the Future. The ESCAP Sustainable Business Network was specifically set up to drive businesses to work towards the SDGs, and we commend ESCAP's work in driving forward progress towards the 2030 Agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. That statement will be duly reflected in the report. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I would now like to invite the Director of the Trade Investment to deliver her concluding remarks.
Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it's with great pleasure that I deliver these closing remarks at the end of the second session of the Committee on Trade, Investment, Enterprise and Business Innovation. To start off, I'd like to express our sincere gratitude to all delegates for your active participation. Your contribution and support have made this committee session a success. I would also like to thank the Bureau of the Committee, Chair Excellency Fayaz Murshid Qazi, and Vice Chairs Excellency E.S. Vijayanti Edrisinghe and Mrs. Jayagori Pindaya for their excellent leadership and effective conduct of the proceedings. At the outset of this meeting, a question was posed to us: how can trade, investment, enterprise, and business innovation accelerate progress for sustainable development? Over the last few days, we've deliberated on this very matter. We've learned about the various challenges and prospects that lie ahead and how we can collaborate better to leverage these opportunities for the benefit of our people and planet. We appreciate the valuable comments, perspectives, and guidance you have shared, and welcome the initiatives and efforts that are taking place and bearing fruit for sustainable development. Certainly, the Secretariat is committed to working together with all member states and partner organizations to take concrete steps needed to realize a more inclusive, resilient, and sustainable future for our region. Thank you once again, and I look forward to our continued cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chanda and your team. I would also like to call on the Secretariat to make a housekeeping announcement.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we'd like to remind participants to complete a brief online survey through the link available on the committee webpage under the Overview tab. You will also have seen a signage at the entrance of this conference room providing the link to the survey and the QR code. Your feedback will help improve the quality of our services and support to delegations. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. So before we close the meeting, I would like to thank ESCAP and its staff for the effective servicing of this committee session. I would also like to thank the other members of the Bureau as well as all delegations for their active and constructive participation and the support extended to me and the rest of the Bureau. With that, I now declare the second session of the Committee on Trade, Investment, Enterprise and Business Innovation closed.